To many international visitors, Phu Quoc is simply a tropical paradise. Blue seas, white sand, luxury resorts. But beneath this peaceful image lies a deeper story, one shaped by centuries of exploration, settlement, governance, and defense. Phu Quoc is not an accidental part of Vietnam. It is the result of deliberate human effort, state organization, and historical continuity. Located in the Gulf of Thailand, near important maritime routes, the island has long held strategic value. Throughout history, whoever controlled Phu Quoc could influence regional trade and security. For Vietnam, this island represents more than territory. It represents sovereignty. It represents national resilience. And it represents a long tradition of protecting maritime frontiers. This episode explores how Phu Quoc became, and has remained, an inseparable part of Vietnam. Before the 17th century, Phu Quoc was largely undeveloped. It was occasionally visited by fishermen and traders, but no permanent, organized political authority existed on the island. The decisive turning point came during Vietnam's southward expansion, known as Nam Tien. From the late 1600s onward, under the leadership of the Nguyen lords, Vietnamese pioneers migrated southward in organized waves. These settlers were supported by the state. They were tasked with clearing land, establishing villages, building ports, and securing coastlines. On Phu Quoc, they created stable communities based on Vietnamese law, customs, and administrative systems. They introduced taxation, land registration, and local governance. By the early 18th century, Phu Quoc had been integrated into Ha Tien province, which was administered by officials appointed by the Nguyen court. This was not informal occupation. It was formal state administration. Vietnamese historical records, including Dai Nam Tuk Luc and Gia Din Ton Thong Chi, document this process in detail. Western maps from the 18th and 19th centuries also consistently identified Phu Quoc as part of Cochinchina, later Vietnam. These documents provide clear evidence of early and continuous Vietnamese authority. From its earliest permanent settlement, Phu Quoc developed within Vietnam's political and cultural sphere. This foundation remains the core of Vietnam's legitimate sovereignty today. In the 19th century, European colonialism reached Southeast Asia. Vietnam fell under French control and became part of French Indochina. Yet even under colonial rule, Phu Quoc remained administratively connected to Vietnam. The French governed the island as part of Cochinchina. It was never transferred to Cambodia. Colonial land records, censuses, and legal documents consistently placed Phu Quoc within Vietnamese territory. During this period, infrastructure was expanded. Ports, roads, and communication systems were developed. But colonial rule also brought repression. In 1949, the French established a prison camp on the island. During the Vietnam War, this facility was expanded into Phu Quoc Prison, where thousands of political prisoners were detained. Despite foreign domination, Vietnamese communities on the island preserved their language, traditions, and social structures. After independence and national reunification in 1975, Vietnam restored full sovereign control. The prison was transformed into a historical site, honoring those who had sacrificed for national independence. Thus, even through colonial occupation and war, Vietnam's territorial continuity over Phu Quoc was never broken. In the modern era, sovereignty is not only defined by history, but also by international law. Vietnam's claim over Phu Quoc meets all major legal criteria. First is effective occupation. For more than 3 centuries, Vietnam has continuously governed, populated, and developed the island. Second is administrative continuity. From the Nguyen Dynasty to French Indochina, from the Republic of Vietnam to the present Socialist Republic of Vietnam, governance has remained uninterrupted. Third is legal recognition. In 1982, Vietnam and Cambodia signed an agreement formally recognizing Phu Quoc as Vietnamese territory. Subsequent treaties in 2005 and 2019 further clarified maritime boundaries in the Gulf of Thailand. These agreements were registered with the United Nations. They reflect mutual recognition and international legitimacy. In addition, regional stability in Southeast Asia depends on respect for such legal frameworks. Vietnam's approach to Phu Quoc has consistently emphasized peaceful development and legal governance. Major investments in airports, ports, transportation, and urban planning serve not only economic purposes, but also reinforce national presence. Tourism, infrastructure, and environmental management are expressions of modern sovereignty. They demonstrate long-term responsibility over territory. Sovereignty is not maintained by law alone. It is sustained by people. The culture of Phu Quoc reflects centuries of Vietnamese maritime life. Fishing villages, coastal temples, and traditional festivals honor the relationship between humans and the sea. Phu Quoc fish sauce, protected by international geographical indication, represents generations of craftsmanship. It is both an economic product and a cultural symbol. Local families pass down knowledge of fishing, navigation, and fermentation techniques. Religious practices blend ancestor worship, Buddhism, and sea deity traditions. These cultural patterns connect Phu Quoc directly to the wider Vietnamese coastal civilization. In recent decades, rapid development has transformed the island. International tourism, casinos, and luxury resorts have brought prosperity. But they have also created challenges. Environmental pressure, rising land prices, cultural dilution. Vietnam now faces the task of balancing growth with preservation. Protecting coral reefs, forests, and traditional communities is essential for sustainable sovereignty. Looking ahead, Phu Quoc stands at the intersection of history and globalization. It is a frontier once again, but this time, a frontier of development, diplomacy, and cultural responsibility. Phu Quoc is not merely a destination. It is a historical document written in land, sea, and memory. From Vietnamese pioneers and Nguyen administrators, to colonial resistance and modern legal recognition, to living maritime culture, every stage of its history affirms one truth: Phu Quoc belongs to Vietnam, by settlement, by governance, by law, and by identity. It is a symbol of how a nation builds, protects, and sustains its territory across centuries. In understanding Phu Quoc, we understand Vietnam itself. A nation shaped by resilience, guided by continuity, and committed to peaceful sovereignty.